This is a coping mechanism podcast.
This is a coping mechanism podcast.
This is a coping mechanism podcast.
Greetings, one and all, and welcome to another exciting episode of This is a Coping Mechanism podcast. I am one of your hosts, Ted, along with my wonderful friend and co-host,
Bessie, and join us on how we cope with things through this satire life of ours with movies, media, mysteries, and more.
Whoa!
Whoa.
How you doing, Bessie?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
It's been a minute.
It has been a minute. For anyone wondering, this is going to be another one of our trademark variety shows.
Yeah.
TM, we own that word. So anyone out there using the word variety and show,
Sued.
you sued, or you better be in the Patreon. You better be in the variety show tier.
So yeah, we get to just have a little catching up to do. It's been a hot ass minute since me and Ted have seen each other. It was the end of the year.
We've had the whole ass holidays in between us.
I know. I was busy at work, and then I skedaddled out of the country for a little bit.
Right? Which, I don't fault you. It's been hard. He's been tense times.
It was a great way to end the year, for sure. But 2024 was a really good year to me. How was it for you?
Just, I think 2024 has kind of blurred. It was all stayed the same. I wouldn't say it was great.
Yeah.
I think it was just like we went here. It was, and then it just kept like that.
Just kind of
pretty
stagnant
much the entire time.
Yeah.
Until by the time I noticed it was over, I was like, "Oh shit, that happened! Damn, here we go again."
I know. It was I kind of just measure everything now as time by like how long I've had my business. I'm like, holy shit, that was my first year, and holy shit, that already happened, and oh my god, it's been a year already.
Really? It's been... Oh, that's crazy, man.
I know. I feel like people measure time by like kids or like significant events or something, so for me it's like my business.
Which, I mean, that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
I guess...
I mean, time goes by fast regardless, but...
Yeah. Like, the only thing that really started this year that I would be like this show, but we've only been doing this show since like the end of summer.
Right.
I mean, we've been recording longer than that, but
actually having them out for you guys like week to week or week by week.
We've only been doing that for like 6 months, 5 months now or something like that.
Which is still crazy.
It is crazy.
Especially I feel like we have like a lot of episodes out.
We do.
We're like keeping that momentum, and I think they say one of my clients told me this, like if you have more than like I think 10 episodes or something, you already are doing more than most podcasts that try to start. There's a lot of people would like cap, so I'm like, okay, then we're going still, we're going.
That's that's like a huge thing. Is a lot of people get discouraged because you start out slow in anything,
of course,
but you
this
start
is not
out
an
slow
instant
in
gratification
anything.
Thing.
Unless you have unless you're specifically a part of like one of those podcast media groups or just any media
or just kind
group,
of famous, any media group.
You have to have a start somewhere.
Yeah, you have to have a platform already to even be like, oh, I follow them because they post makeup. Oh, cool, I'll just already listen to their podcast.
Yeah.
Like they're already invested in the person. Yeah.
Exactly.
Dude, I'm proud of what we've done.
Me too.
And I've gotten great feedback, and I think you have too, and so it feels good regardless.
I find it, you did a version of this show before. I've done a fair bit of internet and stuff before in like videos and stuff. But I think this show is the most universal thing I've ever done.
Yeah, for sure.
And I've had it happen 2 times, I think, where I've been in a situation where people have been listening to this show, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And they're like, I'm listening to...
Yeah, like when they kind of bring it up, oh, I loved when you... And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, like,
so I'm like, oh yeah, that's a thing.
I have a group of friends, and every year we do a Christmas party, and we do a...
Gift exchange?
Yeah, like a gift exchange, but what's the thing?
White elephant?
Yeah,
Okay.
there you go. And um, I went with my friend Shuey, and we like.
That's his real name, right?
Yeah, his real name is Shuey.
That's what, I did it so random, but like he popped up on my Instagram of like people you might know. And I was staring at the name so long, and I was like, why does that look so familiar?
Well, because...
And then I saw, because their profile picture has a girl in it, too.
Yes,
and I know he has a partner, but I was just like, I know that person, I think. And then I just clicked it. His page is private, but I was just like, is that really his name? I don't remember if, like, that's exactly how it is and how it's spelled.
That's the issue, is that if it had said, parentheses, my best friend, you'd be like, it's Chewy!
It's Chewy. For sure. And I was just like, huh. That is just how you... That's just his name.
Yeah,
cool, okay.
His name's just... He has no middle name.
Yeah, it's just that.
He does have a last name, but I don't know.
Yeah, I saw it on there, but I don't know if that's what he fully goes by or not. Like his government name. But I was just like...
That is indeed his government name.
Love that. But yes, you guys do a Christmas party.
So, that's the thing is he has a partner, who, she has a family, a pretty, so we're in the truck, and she had her and her kids and stuff, and then we're like riding, and I'm like on my phone, and we're going, like a couple towns over to this Christmas party, so we're all like riding together.
Yeah.
And I'm not paying attention, and then they start talking about this show they're listening to, and then they're like, what do you think? And I go, huh, about what? And then they look at me like I'm crazy, and I'm like, Shuey, you're driving, look at the road. And then she was like, and I was like, and I saw, because he has like a fancy new truck, that has one of those big media displays as the radio.
Like I know, like for iPhones, it's like Apple Play, so like pops up what you're listening to or all that stuff. Yeah.
And I saw our art, and I was like, holy shit, that's me. And they were like, yeah, we're listening to your show. We're trying to talk to you about it.
You're like, oh, was that what we were talking about?
And I was like, why are you listening to this? I'm here. You could just talk to me. And then his partner was like, we listen to this show every week, all the time, multiple times. And I was like, that's nice. I don't know why, but it feels really weird you told me that.
I know. No, well, thank you, Chewy and his partner, if you're listening.
When you went to, am I allowed to say where you went?
Yes, I went to Germany, y'all.
So when you went to Germany to visit your friends' stuff, did they listen to the show? Were they did they talk to you about it?
They're not as caught up, but they do.
They dive in a little bit here and there.
I mean, she's got a kid and stuff, so I'm sure it's a little harder with like a young kid. But yeah, she especially loves that we have it on YouTube where she can like watch us and see me and like the whole thing. She's like, because I know a lot of people like that. Like they don't just listen to audio podcasts like I do. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. You put me on your TV screen and you watch me. That's so cool.
That's crazy.
But then it's cute that she's also like, well, my baby gets to see you and hear your voice and recognize that because, I've met her now. And I'm like, well, you guys love me or something. Stop it.
I stopped myself so many times because on your Instagram, I would see you put up stories and stuff of Germany, and they were all very nice. But every time it was of you with your friend's baby, I really wanted to type, "Are you getting the teeth? Are you taking the teeth? Or are you looking space?"
Trust me, I told her, I said, I get one or two of these baby teeth that fall out, and she's like, "You got it," and I'm like, "Yes."
So
I put her in a little Terrifier onesie from that horror movie.
Yeah.
And it was like little Terrifier, and I was just like, I just can't wait to show you all these creepy, crazy, weird things, baby.
You're just like, I'm gonna be responsible for so many nightmares of this
child's
life.
I know, it's gonna be great. Your life can't be that great all the time. I gotta show you some sprinkle of horror in it.
That's why you just have horror in your normal life.
Exactly. Then who needs movies?
Exactly. Who needs movies?
Me. But no, Germany was amazing. It was super nice to, work for myself and not have to worry like, shit, I gotta ask to have off and then hear about it maybe, and then
that's
like I literally just get to block off, and when clients are like, oh, are you doing anything, or can I book around here, I'm like, oh, I'm actually out, and they're like, oh, okay, cool. You know, they're more happy for me that I'm getting to travel also and do my own thing. I got to have 2 weeks off in Germany, and we hung out in South Germany, and then we went to Prague for a couple days.
That's awesome.
It was so awesome. It's crazy that Prague was a 2.5-hour drive.
Yeah.
But I know that's just like how the countries are over there, but it was so mind-boggling.
To just be like...
To just drive into another country, and you're just like, oh, hey, I'm here.
I always thought that was weird, because it's not just like... Because they're like whole different places.
They're whole different places,
you know?
And there's a mixing pot of like everybody. Like I've only been to Vietnam for overseas, and that was more of a culture shock because like it's only like Asian people there or Vietnamese people, so you're just kind of like, I really stick out like a sore thumb. Where in Germany it was, I mean, people are white, but it was also like there was a lot of people maybe from the Middle East or India or from Asia and kind of all over. So, and all of them spoke German, which also made me feel stupid as an American that I speak one language.
German.
But it was like you didn't know if the Korean lady who was serving you would speak English, but she did, and she spoke German, and she'd speak her native. And I was just like, holy shit. Yeah. But it's, I guess, more out of necessity because it is all so close, but it was awesome. Yeah. But it made me feel stupid.
You just have to survive. But I'm sure those people have been living there for like years.
No, of course. Like, but, you know, I'm not like trying to be that inconsiderate American that's just like, English, you know, which I saw people do, and I was like, well, no wonder they're fucking rude to you. I had no issues with German stereotype and them being rude. I would just be like, so I can see English, and they'd be like, yeah, a little, but at least I'm trying. Yeah. You know, and I'd say Dankeschön, and like I'm not just gonna be I'm not gonna be like an ass. I'm gonna try at least to have manners, and then I had no issues with anybody. I never,
you know, I had always heard the stereotype of like, oh, everyone hates traveling Americans.
I could see why.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, that's probably just like a stereotype, because, you know, I don't know if you've heard like people, they like put Canadian flags on their bags to be like, no,
I'm not American.
Look, I'm Canadian, and it's so that people are nicer to you.
Yeah.
And then whenever I had traveled again, I went to Vietnam, and, you know, first it was like a 2-day layover in Japan, and then from there it was like to Vietnam. And I was like, I never had a problem there. And then we went to Vietnam. You know, you leave, at least us, we like left the city immediately.
Into a small town or city village thing.
Yeah. And at that point, it's just kind of, we're the only white people you're going to see.
We're the only foreigners you will see within a minute. You'd have to drive out of there to see
or like
anyone else.
Really look around in the city part.
Yeah.
You know, certain, and even then it's like, maybe.
Yeah.
But then when we spent time in Saigon, and I was like just around, and I was just watching people, and I'd be like, I'm like, oh my god, that guy sucks.
Yeah, you see the stereotypes happen in front of you, and you're like, I don't want to be a part of that.
Yeah, I'm like,
but one bunch ruins it for everybody.
Right.
You know, so you're instantly just categorized in that.
I think a big, I don't know, maybe it's a little classist, but I think if you have the money to go traveling just for fun and like around and stuff.
A lot more often.
More often than not, you're coming from a social position where being rude is not as, not necessarily not as frowned upon, but it's kind of let go.
Right, it's a little more expected because you have this.
Yeah. So you put
for sure.
And I'm like, up with it. You kind of like have that air, and I'm like,
yeah, definitely.
You know, you could just like not be a dick.
Exactly. No, but it was amazing. It was so beautiful there. Everything was very Christmassy, which I don't really like Christmas, but it made you change your mind, you know, just if you felt it was different there.
I hear they do it hard.
Hard AF.
I know.
Like there was even clients were like, what'd you get into? And I'm like, not really anything, because it was all Christmas shit, which was awesome. But even in Prague, it was the same way. Like everything was Christmassy, the markets, the lights. It was a whole shebang.
Germany is the birth of like all modern Christmas traditions.
which was cool to see.
I was wondering like how long have people been like cutting down trees and putting that started in Germany. The church did it. They cut down a tree and they just started putting and I was like, it couldn't have been that long ago because they're not like covering trees in candles and shit. It's a dry ass tree burned down. No, they're doing that shit 500 years ago in Germany.
Yeah, even in Prague, like they'd have those big like Catholic churches, but it was still very Christmas oriented. They'd had like even like a little play sing choir thing that was like the whole like people were dressed as like the apostles and there's Jesus and the baby and the angels, and I was like, okay, yeah.
I loved the architecture pictures that you took.
Dude, that was my favorite part.
I was every time you posted those, I was adoring them. I was like, oh my god, that looks so dope.
It looks fake. It looks like a fake backdrop that you're like, this isn't real. People don't fucking live here. Like, you know what I'm saying?
And it's like, oh, whenever people, I look at that and you're like, wow, this is what when people tried. Yeah. This is what they can do.
Yes. And then it lasts forever.
Yeah. Because all this shit's hundreds and hundreds of years old. And you go to Austin, and it's like, or any city, and it's like, oh, it's a flat glass building. Oh, look at that other flat glass building.
The oldest thing you might get is like 100-year-old something.
Yeah. I think like one of the oldest cities we have is like Galveston with some of the stuff, and it's like, it's like, some stuff is like 200.
Right. But that's still not that long.
Yeah.
But even, especially in Prague, because I was learning that like a lot of Prague was pretty much untouched from like damage from the wars compared to like Germany, obviously, and how they rebuilt stuff to make it look old like when it was. But a lot of Prague is like that's the same stature, like it's exactly what it was all those years ago. Not built to look that old because it was destroyed. And I mean, I get people don't like Americans or tourists, but like. Just seeing a place like that, I don't think they realize how beautiful it is there. When you come here, you're like, the most beautiful thing in America to me are like national parks because they're untouched.
Yeah.
You know, like other than that, you got some cool museums and stuff, but like it's not like there where just the architecture itself is like breathtaking.
I think like the most impressive we have here that you could show someone from there is like taking them out to a place to just show like flatlands and be like, look at hundreds of kilometers of nothing. You're like, you don't have to be like, from as far as you can see, that's your whole country, and there's nothing there. I wanted to ask, what did you notice like a difference in like mood or how you were like compared to like when we traveled to Vietnam? Did people act different? Do they have a different kind of attitude, a different way of like
just like their day to day?
Yeah,
for sure. I would say like there was like no traffic there. I guess obviously because their public transit's great, but like you're never in traffic jams, so it never really seemed like people were super rushy. They were a little blunt and aggressive about thinking they have like right-of-ways and stuff like that and kind of just like existing around. But no, everyone was super chill, and maybe it was holidays too of just like enjoying.
Puts everyone in a better mood.
Yeah, but nobody was ever rude. Nobody was ever like rushing past you or like what the fuck or like, you know, like hitting your shoulders, just being in your way, you know? None of that. Plus it just seemed like people felt better. Like it seemed like they walked around more. It seemed the food was obviously so much cleaner. Like even when we ate fried chicken, like I didn't feel bloated. I didn't feel nasty. You know, like you just felt good. The air quality was like cleaner, like all of it. So it just seemed like overall people just are living a more comfortable lifestyle.
Do you see yourself like going to a place like that more often, or retiring or moving to something like that?
If we ever had the opportunity to like live in Europe, even if it was just for a little bit, I would love to experience just living somewhere where it seems like lifestyle is more taken caring of yourself, and
the focus is more on like
you person. And not work.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know like all the ins and outs of their politics and stuff, but just even for my friend living there, in the grocery stores of like, oh, we don't have that, it's not in season. It's like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
You know, like, I want that.
Like,
I would love
that.
Yeah, I would love the opportunity to live there, but we're already planning like our next trip there. And then we've definitely like, we're looking at the map like, oh, look, Spain and all these places are like, yeah, we want to see it all.
I think, you know, I want to go to Europe because now I've been all over America. Both United States, I've been to Canada, I've been to Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
And now I think Korea is like the only Asian country now that I really haven't gone to, because we always would,
like, really explore, yeah.
Yeah, because we take those tours into other countries and stuff, and, you know, or even if it's just like hanging out around the airport for a day, and it's like,
Sure.
oh, I talked to some people, I went and got food, I did this, you know, and
like you kind of had your more of a taste of Asia,
yeah,
or those areas.
So I'd like to go to Europe just to like have that different experience. Definitely. And kind of, you know,
different culture, different food, and so it was not as intimidating as Vietnam. Granted, I know we have family there, so they translate for us, but not having that, it was kind of like, oh shit, no one here, you know, speaks like German, but it was a lot easier to navigate. One, a lot of people did speak English, where like Vietnam, nobody really did.
Yeah.
So we never had to pull out our translator or anything. We would like take a picture and like kind of read a menu, like translating it. But like, it wasn't as intimidating as I thought, which makes me feel better about like exploring other parts of Europe too. Of like, okay, it's not as hard to get around as maybe Vietnam would have been without family there.
I don't see how.
I don't think I would have even attempted.
Maybe that's those assholes are traveling around Vietnam. They're just so frustrated. Being like, it's just beating your head against a wall.
And they're just like, don't understand.
I don't know. I would just love to go see some ripping Gothic castles and cathedrals and all that stuff. Yeah. Did you try Lebkuchen?
No.
Okay.
What was it again?
They're just like gingerbread cookies.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't have those. I had Wurst, I had half a Mita Wiener, and then lots of just different foods from like different countries, like ramen, fried chicken, Korean.
I hear
Vietnamese. We had pho there, and it was good, you know. So we had a lot more, not just German food, because I don't really want like pork and wieners and potatoes all the time.
I hear most German food is like
meat and potatoes. That's all it is.
Yeah, they don't even traditionally like they don't even eat hot meals, but like once a day.
Really?
So it's like you're eating bread with butter, cheese, and like pickles or something.
Their cheeses.
Yeah, but like that's 2 of your meals a day.
Yeah.
And then you have like one meal that's your meat, potatoes, you know,
that's it.
Sauerkraut, whatever schnitzel. You do.
There was a lot of places that had Doner.
Doner,
yeah. We didn't get any of that, but again, it's such a melting pot that you can get a whole bunch of different food. But Prague was definitely not a place I was even interested in trying their traditional foods. I don't like a lot of pork, and it was a lot of like roasted pork or like pork knee or like lamb chops with gravy or like meatloaves or like these processed kind of meat looking things, and I was just like, not really interested in that either. Let's get Indian food. I'm just not like a big like pork and meat girl.
Yeah.
And so I was just, I know I should have at least tried it, but I was just like, I don't really want to.
I feel you. I like meat a lot, but I'm not a big fan of pork because I worked, you know.
I mean, I'm sure it is cleaner pork there, but I still was not super interested.
I don't know if there's such thing as clean pigs. You know what I mean?
That's true, yeah. Maybe just treat it better so you don't feel as bad.
Yeah. You know, there's like...
they're not pumped up with all the... like,
growth hormones and all that
like
stuff.
antibiotic shit put in our food.
And that's why I started... Just make your own stuff.
Exactly.
You know? It's cheaper. That's... one of the things I got into over our little break. I started making my own bread.
That's so awesome.
Making bread.
Kind of want a piece of it.
You can You can maybe wait until after the show.
Or in between, yeah. I see people on TikTok make it all the time, or like their own bagels, and it looks so easy.
It is.
It's just like you actually having to do it,
It's really easy once you get it down, but I fucked it up.
Of course, yeah, it's gonna take practice.
I think I took pictures of every loaf that I've made so far, and it's like it started out as just this dead, dense brick that Alex really liked. He thought it was, and he was like, it was like eating a dense salt cake. And I was like, that doesn't sound very nice. And he was like, I don't know.
Are you just doing like regular flour? Have you done like sourdough or anything?
I haven't done sourdough. I actually
sourdough's my.
I love sourdough. Is probably my favorite bread, but
it's so good for your gut.
Is it really?
All the fermentation.
I
definitely is like probiotics for your gut.
Get them stuff going. I went to D&D on Saturday, and we instead of doing it here, we went to a friend's house, and I made a loaf for D&D to be like, hey, I made bread. Tell me if you guys like it. And his wife
breaking bread with the homies.
Yeah. You know but his wife makes sourdough like all the time. And she was like, shh, whenever I brought out the loaf, she was like asking me all these questions and like poking and prodding and being like, oh, because I guess she's really into making sourdough and bread. And she was like showing me her starter that she's been working since she started making bread like a few years ago. And she was like, oh, have you thought about that? And I was like, I don't know. I hear it's a lot more complicated. She was like, no, it only takes like a day or so to make a loaf. And I was like,
I don't have a day.
What? She was like, yeah, because, it has to like, right now it's, it always cold ferments, but then it has to like get to room temperature and warm ferment. And then you have to like mix and it has to set in stages. Thing. And I'm like, this took me an hour and 10 minutes start to finish.
Yeah.
And I was like,
if you have the time for it, then I guess. But we like instant satisfaction here.
Right? Like, I mean, it was like an hour, and I really wanted to. I know I've heard that making bread is easy.
Yeah.
But I was like, I wanted to make. Have you ever gotten like that HEB French bread?
Mm-hmm.
The fresh
good, yeah.
That's like, yeah.
Even though it has a million ingredients in it.
That's the thing, is it has a million ingredients in it
that you can't pronounce.
They stopped. So they started. When they sell it, they usually put it in a wax paper bag. And that wax paper bag is imperative to the texture of the bread because it lets out moisture, so the outside like stays that kind of like chewy crispiness while the inside is super soft. But now they started putting them in plastic bags, so they just steam in the bag and then they taste like shit.
Yeah, soggy and shit.
And I was like,
and moist.
I really want it. I've been eating that bread like my entire life, and it's like my favorite bread. And now that I can't get it anymore because now it's I guess it's cheaper to put them in plastic bags.
Yeah, of course.
So I was like, I gotta learn how to make that shit. And it's
that's so awesome though.
Also, apparently there's not eggs in bread. Didn't know that.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know that either.
It's just
I bought bread from like farmers markets, like. And it's whether it's sourdough or just kind of regular white bread, or when people put like jalapenos and stuff on it, and it's amazing. I guess I've never looked at the ingredients hard enough, besides seeing there's only a few things in it, to be like, is there eggs in here?
Yeah, it's just.
I just assume everything you bake with has eggs.
That's what I thought too, but
I don't bake, so I guess.
Salt, flour, water, and yeast. Oh, and sugar.
Really?
To wake up it gives the yeast something to eat, so it like starts activating it and getting it alive, and that is fun. Have you made
it without sugar to see what it would do?
Yeah, that was the first
brick.
That was the second brick.
You're like, I don't eat sugar. Oh fuck.
Yeah, and
what type of sugar do you use?
Just regular old.
Just bleach sugar.
Yeah,
and I wonder if cane sugar, since it's better for you, would work in there.
I tried. You can tell me because I tried making yours with cane brown sugar.
Okay.
Because. I also, yours is a mixture of unbleached regular flour and then organic whole grain wheat flour.
Okay.
Because I was like, They're more healthy.
I
You know.
appreciate you being considerate. I'm excited to try it.
You know, let me know. I when I went over to that friend's house, she was like critiquing my loaf, and in a very kind way, and that she was like telling me all the stuff that it was really good and all this stuff, and she was like, "Oh, if I make you," she said the cheese loaf. She was like, "I just made this jalapeno Asiago loaf the other day, and with cheddar. I'll make you one of those if you make another one of these loaves, and we'll do a loaf swap." And I was just like, "Yeah, this was like an hour, and it's not that." She's just like, "I don't give a shit."
You liked it.
Yeah,
that's all that matters. That's awesome.
And then I was like, and then she was like, "Hey," and she told me about the farmer market, about how people go down there and they just
sell those for a decent amount of money to like buy bread.
Yeah, she was like, she barters with her sourdough
Really?
all the time apparently, and she was telling me about this, like the economics of a farmer's market, where it's like, yeah, you can sell that, you can sell it to people coming through, or you trade with other people there for their stuff. And there's just this whole subsect of barter economy that I didn't know was a thing, but apparently...
I feel like with my job I barter a lot. Like, oh, you do this, I'll trade you a haircut for it. Oh, will you install this? I'll trade you a haircut for it.
Like,
even though it's worth way more than what my haircut is, but they're like, oh, that sounds like a good deal, and I'm like, okay.
Like, how many tattoos do you have paid for by haircuts?
None.
Really? Surprising.
Well, I've only been tattooed by 3 people. One was a lady, and I don't do women's hair.
That's fair.
My tattoo artist now is bald. And then there was only one other guy who did like 2. But that's one that a lot of girls that at work in the shops I've worked at that specialize in like color, they do trades because it's like hundreds of dollars worth of hair color for a trade of a tattoo. So that's like more of an even bargain.
Yeah, where you're like, I don't know, I only have one tattoo, and I was at a New Year's party this year at this tattoo artist's house in Temple, and he was like, we went upstairs, and he was like showing me his
who'd you go to the party with?
Chris.
Okay.
And
what I assumed.
Yeah, he was their tattoo artist, and I was like, oh, I've seen some of your work, and then he was like, oh yeah, you want to see like my portfolio? And
is he good?
He's very good.
Okay.
I think I took some pictures to show you, because he does a lot of his own art, and it's some stuff I think you might be into, because it's real. Some of it's like real intense and freaky. Yeah. And
is Chris really tatted?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like
I don't remember when I saw a picture of them I could see the
yeah, they have a lot. Yeah, they have a lot. But I was like, oh, so you do like commission and stuff? And he was like, oh yeah, I draw anything. And so he was like showing me like just pages and pages of all this hand drawn stuff that he had done for like different people, or just practicing, or being like, pick a thing. And then he was telling me, I was like, man, this seems, how much do you usually charge? He was like, well, I undercut all the local shops for business, but a lot of times I just trade. And he was like, I traded, this TV for a tattoo, or this. He was like, and he was like, my car I traded for 2 full sleeves. And I was like,
it's kind of just sometimes it makes more sense, because if like you're gonna save that money you make off that tattoo just to go buy a car, and someone's offering it in exchange, is kind of like easier.
Yeah. He was asking me, he was like, hey, do you have anything that you want? And I think I told you about my tattoo idea. I was like, yeah, but that sounds like it'd be really expensive. And he was like, do you have anything to trade? And I was like, some guns. He was like, I'll do it.
Like back to the old ways of just trading everything.
Yeah.
I'll trade you seeds for that blanket, and I'll trade that blanket for some seeds.
That's what we gotta do, since no one's got no dang money.
Yeah. Paper's going away.
But did you? How long were you in Germany?
2 weeks.
So it was just for Christmas?
Yep.
Did you do anything for like Thanksgiving or New Year's or anything like that?
Thanksgiving was just here, the huge, And then I just was kind of slammed at work until I left, since I was going to be out for a couple weeks.
You really, like, loaded down?
Yeah, I tried to get everyone I could in, worked extra, and then we flew back in New Year's Eve night, so I was just out.
Yeah.
Got home, and I was like, well, after that 10-hour flight, I would like to go to sleep. Just really chill. What'd you get into for when I went to the New Year's party?
Yeah, so that was my New Year's. I was in Temple, and
what'd you do for Christmas besides that Christmas party? Anything else?
So the Christmas party was actually the other day.
Okay.
We always do it like a month later, so because everyone has families, and stuff. My Christmas was stressful as shit. Just because it's always whenever you have a lot of people. I think when you're the house that people go to,
yeah,
it's just a lot of work.
Of course.
So
a lot of prep.
Yeah, and then I think it was I was talking about before the show, but I've been really trying to like hammer in on my weight and working on it, and I took Christmas Eve. That was like my break, was starting Christmas Eve until for a week I was like still trying to keep relatively under control, but I was like, this is my diet
eating
break.
A little bit more, yeah.
After it was like 4 weeks hard, and then that, and then now back on it. But I spent all Christmas Eve like baking and cooking. Like I woke up 5 a.m.
Yeah.
And I started baking and like prepping all the dishes so they could just go in for Christmas dinner. And I was doing that until like 10:30 at night. And like I was like dead tired, and I was just like it was like I was at work and I stopped at like had a lunch.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I got 10 minutes.
Yeah.
All right, I gotta go back to work. And then like Christmas Day, it was like the same thing where got up.
What'd you cook for Christmas?
I made a potatoes. That was a whipped mashed potatoes. The top was a potatoes au gratin. You ever had that? It's just a little like scallop potatoes that are like cheese and all this stuff. So it's like whenever you go into it, it's like the top is a layer of thin, cheesy potatoes, and the top is soft, and then the bottom is soft. I made snowball cake, which is I made a
like those snowballs.
Yeah, I made a cake in a bowl that had a cream cheese like cheesecake center. That the outside I made like a fluff frosting that I coated with the coconut, and then I dyed pink, and I made 2 of them, so it was like
hell yeah. And
then I made peanut butter fudge, tons of cookies. I make tons of Christmas cookies every year, and I made what are those things called? These like Rice Krispie bars that are peanut butter or chocolate covered Rice Krispie treats. And then I made stuffing. I spatchcocked and like dry brined a turkey for a day. And
you're fucking busy.
Yeah. I make cranberry sauce from scratch that I forgot to put out, so no one ate it.
Do you enjoy doing all this, or was it only stressful and you didn't get much joy out of it?
I really like cooking and baking and stuff. I take a lot of pride in it, and I really enjoy it. That didn't stress me out. I liked Christmas Eve of just like working and doing all the stuff, so it was all ready for the next day. But then Christmas, it's like get up and start making cookies so they're fresh.
Yeah.
And because if you age your cookie dough, it tastes better. But then it's just like, okay, got to make things clean, separate. What time is this family group going to get here? What time is this family group going to get here? What time is this family group going to get here? And then, I made from scratch mac and cheese with a homemade bechamel and a 6 cheese sauce, 5, something like that.
I made mac and cheese for Christmas too.
Yeah, Sebastian, when he came over, he wouldn't stop talking about it. He was like,
I did make it for Thanksgiving, so yeah, he tried it.
Yeah, and when he ate mine, he was like, you should make this, and then have Bessie make hers, and then we'll
we
go
should
to
have a
movie
Mac off. Let's do it.
Okay, so you're excited about that. I was like, I don't want to compete against Bessie with mac and cheese.
Well, I don't like cooking, but I just kind of followed this recipe I found on TikTok, and everyone loved it, and I was like, okay, I guess I could just be the mac and cheese girl. That's a compliment if mac and cheese is good.
Yeah, okay, sure. I'll make mac and cheese next time
let's have a mac off for family night.
We'll have a mac off for our family night
with some healthy proteins to go with all that cheese and carbs.
Yeah. I made it because my niece and nephew are a little bit of picky eaters.
Yeah, like the kids' diet of
yeah.
pizza, nuggets, and macaroni.
Exactly. So I was like, oh, I want them to have like something nice that they'll actually eat. So my brother came over with his family, and then like we're doing presents. It's like their kids are running around. There's sweets that it's Christmas, so they can, and there's staff, so like they're running around. It's normal like family drama of like, oh, this is frustrating.
Of
blah,
course,
blah, blah. Yeah. And then that was like going on for like hours, but I was still like trying to cook and keep things.
It's just too much going on.
Yeah. And then honestly, making the mac and cheese was probably the best part of my Christmas because it was just my niece. She hung out with me the entire time I made it, which took me like 40 minutes, and she talked to me about like normal like school and what's going on, and then she just told me the whole plot of E.T. start to finish in like 20 minutes. And she was like, I just watched this movie E.T. Have you seen it?
Random.
And I was like, yeah, I think when I was a kid, and I was like, I don't remember, like super great. And she went, oh, I'll tell you. No
worries. I'll give you the whole synopsis right now.
She sat down next to me and then told me the whole thing. And then when she was done, she was like, I'm sorry if I talk too much. I was like, and she's like, if you don't want me to keep telling you about it, that's fine. I was like, I just like talking about it. And I was like, no, I like talking to you. I was like, whatever you're talking about, I'm into it. I'm going to talk to you about it. And I was like, also, you finished telling me the ending of the movie before you said that. So we can keep talking about other stuff, but I don't know what else you would have
said about it.
She was like, oh yeah.
How old is she?
She's 13 now.
Oh wow.
What
an age.
Yeah, I give her a lot of guff because,
Guff.
Yeah, about her being, like a teenager now. And I'm like, so have you like hit the mood yet where you're just too cool for this? Or you don't want anything to do with this because you think you're too old? And she's like, no, I'm not like that. And I was like, oh, really? And I'm like, what do you think about unicorns now? And she was just like, I don't really mess with them. And I was like, see, trick question, unicorns are awesome.
You're too old for it.
But then, so then like they left, and then
friends came.
Yeah, and then friends came, and then, a lot of them.
Yeah.
Now, and then, which again, I love my friends, I love my family.
Yes, but you're just you've been working, you've been on for so long.
And then I thought, oh, they leave, and then, like, they're hanging out, and it was like my friend Shuey, his kid, Sebastian, some other people cycling through.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, oh, it's like, I think it was like 7:30, 8 o'clock. And I was like, I'm finally like, I hadn't stopped.
Yeah.
And then right before they leave, my cousin and her whole family show up.
Oh my God.
And like
unannounced?
No, I guess they knew they were coming, but and I was like, oh, it's so late, they're just not going to come.
They're just not going to come, okay.
And then
they come.
Yeah. And then they came with my other cousins and all this stuff, and they have like they have real little kids.
Yeah.
And I like kids, but there's a solid section there where someone's a kid is a baby to where they're like old enough to know when something's wrong. And that middle ground, I don't like them. And some of those kids were in that middle ground where I'm sitting here and I'm like,
when are you gonna leave?
I remember at the end of the night, I have a Christmas tray that I would like restock the Christmas cookies and treats and snacks with. And then at that point, I was like, I just went to go throw them away, and he was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm just throwing these away." He's like, "Why don't you save them?" I was like, "I have stuff that we didn't use, but this is specifically put out and stocked so that when kids start rubbing all over stuff and start sneezing." And
Yeah.
I was like, I saw a kid lick his hand and then go and start licking the stuff as he was touching things. And I was
no.
And I was like, okay, yeah.
Enough of that.
And then then you just have a mess, and then so you're like trying to clean everything, get everything put away. So I remember it was like 10:30, or it was like 10:30 at night, and I had like a couple things soaking, and I just went and laid down on the couch, and I was like, oh. And my first Sebastian was still here. He was like, all right, well, I'm gonna head out soon. And I was like, all right. He's like, what's up with you? And I was like, this is the first time I've laid down, did anything for like almost 2 days.
Yeah, like actually stopping. Yeah, that sounds like a fucking lot.
Which, again, I like cooking. Hosting, I don't think I'm a fan of.
That's a whole different ballgame. I mean, you hosted a lot of people that day. Yeah, that's too many.
I think it was like,
and it was an all-day thing, not like you all can come at this time period and that's it. It was like an all-day affair of people coming in and out.
I think we had like 30 people come through here.
It's too many.
Kids really like the mac and cheese, though.
Yeah, and kids are honest.
Yeah.
So what did you do New Year's? What, like, it was just a regular house party?
Yeah, so
let the ball drop. Woo, midnight. Let's go home.
Yeah, pretty much. Nice. It was like I didn't want to go because but I haven't been like getting out much or doing a whole lot, and I was like, I should probably get out. I should probably interact with people, So, and they wanted me to go, so I was like, yeah, sure, if we're just hanging out.
Yeah.
And definitely a different style of folk than I'm usually
around.
Hanging around with, which was nice because, have you ever seen SLC Punk?
Mm-mm.
It's a great movie. Maybe we'll do an episode about it sometime. But it's from like, I think it's the late 90s, early 2000s, like hard punk.
Yeah.
And it's all these like inner city punk guys, like kids, all like going to raves, party, doing all this stuff. But there's this one guy with him who's I forget his name. Have you ever seen like I Love You Man or How I Met Your Mother? Marshall, the big tall guy. He's in their group, but the whole thing is that he dresses like in polos and khakis, and he's like the normal guy who's just kind of like, yay. And that's how I felt like at that party.
Yeah.
Where it's like, it's all these like band people, ripped shirts, covered in tattoos, like a bunch, like people who like punks and all these like real cool people. And I'm sitting there in my my jeans and my brown work boots and my flannel button up.
Yeah.
And my Carhartt jacket, just being like, hey
guys,
you guys
I'm not a narc, I swear.
You guys listen to this music often? It's pretty good. I like your tattoos. Oh, that's some cool hair. I don't think I have a body for it. We're like, who do you think? We're like, this door's a little shaky. I could probably tighten that up for you if you like.
Fix that for you. I'm a little handy.
Yeah, I'm don't mean to toot my own horn, but I've been known to fix a thing or so.
That's hilarious.
And so yeah, it was mostly just me like.
Did you drink?
Yeah, I drank.
Wow, great. I've never seen you drink besides Vietnam.
That's true. I don't drink as much as anywhere near as much as I used to.
Yeah.
But I'll drink for occasions or really when it's socially.
Yeah.
I don't mind drinking. I think when I was younger, I felt like I felt like I drank to have a good time.
Right.
And then you learn.
It's not having a good time.
Yeah. I mean, I actually do think that drinking can be a good time. But I learned
it can be as long as you don't solely base it off.
Yeah.
I can't have a good time unless I drink.
That's the thing is I think I became a lot more adept at having a good time without drinking.
Yeah.
And then all the people who I'm usually surrounded with are people who, they just don't engage in substances.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I guess, when I just stopped doing it,
For sure.
But yeah, like I was drinking and
enjoying yourself.
Yeah, just hanging out, talking to different people about their lives and different stuff. And
did you stay up till midnight?
I did stay up till midnight.
Wow.
And then I stayed up till midnight. Kissed a random person.
Whoa, random.
Yeah, don't you do that?
No.
Oh.
Germs and shit.
I've never been to a New Year's party where I didn't kiss a random person.
Good for you.
And
wow.
That's what you do. You wait till midnight and you kiss someone. It's whoever's around.
All right.
Or if you're a couple, then you go a couple.
There you go.
Or you be fun and you kiss the couple.
There you go. I'm glad you at least had a good, kind of easy, more easy.
Yeah, that was
relaxed.
I think I needed that New Year's.
Yeah. Good way to end the year.
Yeah, of just like, okay, and then since then that was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I can't remember the last time. I guess it was. It must have been before Thanksgiving and all that stuff. Right? Yeah. I know we were gonna try to do like one more episode.
Yeah, and then too much.
Yeah, we were like, we were texting about like your time, and I think it was you were going to the airport either that night or the next day.
Yeah, it was like 2 days before, and I was like, I can try to squeeze that in, but it was just
and I was just like, I don't think we should. Yeah, like we could maybe do one thing.
Yeah,
but we have banked stuff. Not anymore. Now we're now we're cleared. Now we gotta pick up the pace. We gotta pick it up a little bit, and you get that backlog. Backing up. Why are you licking my knee?
I'm glad we both had a decently good year. Started something new together, finishing it and still doing it, and then a good way to end 2024. Now it's 2025.
Do you have any aspirations for 2025? I don't like resolutions.
I don't either.
But I like aspirations.
Not really, besides just like, okay, we need to paint the house and do these things. And so no, just kind of like another year of, I hope my business is good. I'm gonna try to travel again and just keep that momentum going. What about you?
I think I have two. One of which, if we have time, I'll tell a story of because it pissed me off. Something fierce. I think I want this to grow. Normal stuff, like I want to continue my weight loss, whatever. Yeah. But I want this show to grow. Yeah. And I've been having some ideas about how to do that. So hopefully, anyone listening to this now, hopefully there'll be a lot more listening to this. Yeah. Like not too long in the future. We'll see. We got some stuff cooking. And then the other thing, the other big thing is that you remember a few months ago, maybe like a couple months ago, I told you that I started learning Vietnamese as a joke.
Yes.
So let me tell you about our lovely friend of the show and little bitch Sebastian. So our friend Sebastian, he's Vietnamese. We've been to Vietnam. I've been there 5 times now, 4 times.
4,
I think.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, I think 4. So I had the idea that I'm like, I'm going to learn Vietnamese, but I'm going to do it in secret.
Yes.
So when we go to Vietnam,
you'll just start spitting it.
Yeah, I wanted to wait as long as I could until I started using it.
Yeah.
Like the funniest the joke would be is if on the last day and we were like we were getting in the van to go to the airport. Yeah. If I like start talking to the driver in Vietnamese.
That would be great.
And because our friend Sebastian, he has to translate for like us, his cousins, like everyone who only speaks English, and he hates it with a passion. Yeah. Because he's inherently antisocial, and then he's also
trying to enjoy his own time.
Exactly.
Like I'm not your designated translator. Like I'm also on vacation.
Yeah, exactly.
He doesn't read it.
Yeah, he doesn't know how to read.
So it's kind of like when people don't get that and they're like, what's this say? He's like, how many times do I have to fucking tell you? I can't fucking read it.
I'm illiterate in Vietnamese. So he came him and Alex, they went and hung out one day,
Mm.
and then it came home. Alex went to bed because he had to work the next day, and then Sebastian stayed up, and me and him were just like, we were hanging up by ourselves, and we were talking, and the conversation got to, it got kind of deep.
Yep.
And he was telling me about how he was really upset, and it kind of made him really sad because he's been losing the ability to speak Vietnamese.
Yeah.
And I was
you
like,
don't use it, you lose it.
Exactly, that's what he said. I was like, oh my god, I never thought of that. He was like, yeah, you know, I only talked to Ma about it, and she unfortunately passed away. And like this other this other family member, like his uncle, and he doesn't talk to him anymore much either. He's like, so yeah, he's like, I guess he went to go visit some Vietnamese family in Austin, and some of them, like the older people, started speaking to him in Vietnamese, and he had trouble understanding.
Picking it up. Oh,
yeah, some stuff they were saying.
And it's only been like a year.
Yeah.
So like that slips fast.
Yeah, but it's like he went from speaking it every day to not at all for like
maybe
a year,
once a month or something.
Yeah,
if that.
Like a phone message to Vietnam or something. So he was like, "Yeah, man, it's just." You know, it's really, I don't know. And I kept my mouth shut, and I was upset, but I kept my mouth shut. And then he was like, yeah, I've been thinking about trying this Duolingo thing. I hear it's pretty good. Didn't Alex try it for a while? What do you think about it? And I was just like, in my head, I'm trying to balance, is he fucking with me? Does he know? And I'm just like, I don't know, I've heard things, you know, I've heard it's fine. He's just like, maybe I should try that to like keep myself fresh with it or something.
What you do is you go on like Omegle in Vietnam and you practice because people there are trying to also learn English, so you go back and forth. That's what everyone else does. So I'll text him that.
Yeah, you should text him that. But I kept my mouth shut still, and then he's like, and then he went, oh, remember how much you've been telling me you want to learn Vietnamese? You could sign up too, and then we could do it together. And you always said you want me to teach you Vietnamese, but I never wanted to do it. And I was like, oh yeah, that sounds like maybe we could get a whatever, you know. And then he downloads it onto his phone, starts doing it in front of me, and then he's like, download it, pull out your phone and download it. And he's like doing it
like now.
And I was like, and at this point it was like 11:58.
Yeah.
And you have to do a lesson every single day in order to like keep your streak going. And so I needed to do a lesson, and he wasn't. And then he's sitting there like, go do it.
So he was gonna see your streak.
Yeah. So then I was just like, ah, you asshole. And I was like, but I couldn't like articulate. I was so upset, and he just like got freaked out. He's like, whoa, what is going on? And I was just like, ooh. So then I did it, and I pulled out my phone, and I did.
What is your streak?
104 days now.
That's awesome. I got to like 4 days in Germany, and I was like, yeah, no.
So 107.
Did he see it?
So that was, yeah. So that's the thing is, I go through and it just like it automatically starts. Yeah. And obviously he could tell as a person who just did lesson 1.
Yeah.
I was going over some bit more advanced stuff. And he was like, whoa, what the hell? And then my streak popped, and it was like my 100th, it was like my 90 something day at that point. And he was like, and then he just got this shit-eating grin, and he was like, I can't believe you were doing that for me. That's so nice. And I'm like, fuck you, you little bitch. You go fuck yourself.
You to fucking teach me forever ago.
And so then he got like a huge kick out of it, and then we were talking about So my other goal is I want to now I have someone who speaks Vietnamese. Now every time we've seen each other, we start talking in Vietnamese, and then it degrades into English because obviously I'm not super great. It's a really hard language.
Yes.
But
that's so awesome though.
But I'll like come up and I'll be like, like, oh, ciao Sebastian, ciao boy sang, and I'll be like, now, which is just like, hey, good morning, what's up, what's going on?
Oh, nice.
And
that's so cool. I'm like, I have no idea what the fuck you're saying.
Yeah. And I've been trying to like make my own sentences now. So like the other day,
actually putting together full.
Badly, which he is very lovely about telling me how terrible I am at.
Well, and it's all about like, I feel like when we were there, it was so much in their tone. Like if something was higher pitched when you said it, it meant something completely different, but like next to like a lower pitch, and I'm just like, what?
Yeah, that is 100% true. If you look at the alphabet, there's like every letter has like 5 different things because it's different pitches. That's so it's crazy. Like yeah. And I got so upset, and I was ranting at him because I was like, if I asked you how to spell Zay, what do you think the first letter in that would be, right? What do you, oh yeah, really? That's crazy. You know what letter is not in the Vietnamese alphabet? Z. So the first letter of Zay is a D.
Oh fuck.
And it just has a different line on it.
And he doesn't read it, so he's like...
Yeah, that was the thing, is like now I read Vietnamese like kind of better than he does because I've studied the alphabet for long. And, you know, he's like flying through stuff. And then, like the word Giao Vien. Mm-hmm. So now you know, nosy.
Nosy.
And so the word Giao Vien, how do you think that word starts?
A D?
Yeah, you'd fucking think so. It's G-A-O.
Oh my god.
So, yeah, it's...
Well, I think that's awesome you're sticking to it. And now have Sebastian to finally kind of practice with.
Yeah, I think it will... No matter what, it'll be a good skill to have. Like, being bilingual is also nice. And then, yeah, I think having someone to kind of talk to in Vietnamese, even if I'm really bad at it right now, and I'm trying to put together my own sentences instead of what they say, but it's
you
difficult.
Just have to keep practicing, that's all, and like really immerse it in that. Well, that's awesome.
I still think that there is some joke to be had though, because one, not a ton of people listen to the show right now, but the people who we go there with, I know don't.
Of course.
You know. So I do like the idea of like the cousins.
Yeah.
If I start speaking, and then they're like, "What?"
Right, they'd have no idea.
If I turn, I'm like, "Yeah, we've been here like 4 times together. Do you not know this?" They would hate me.
Oh my god, yeah.
But
it's part of the fun.
That is part of the fun. But yeah, those are my 2 big things. Is, you know, I want to do a lot more with this show. To finish learning Vietnamese, and I want to lose weight, but I'm trying not to focus on that as much to where it obsessively kills me like I've done in the past, or that's what my friends say.
Yes, there is a good balance, and that means y'all listening too, that we need you to keep sharing, keep talking about us, posting us, all that free stuff. That's easiest way to get that word of mouth going.
Yeah, like, share, subscribe, devote your being to us all the time.
Yes.
Listen to this show over and over again. Don't
memorize the whole thing.
Yeah. I'm learning Vietnamese. You should be learning
our script.
Bessie Teddenese.
There you go. Well, thanks guys for coming in and catching up with us as we caught up for 2024, and let's look forward to all the things for 2025.
Ooh, thank you for coping with us.
Thank you for coping. Stay safe and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Bye.
Bye.